This is Hannibal here, the lead reporter for the HannibalTV.com. The Hannibal TV, of course, is by far Canada's most popular professional wrestling YouTube channel. And we are most viewed in the US for people who are curious, even though we are based here in Canada. But I'm going to get into the daily wrestling news for you today. I didn't do an update yesterday because there was not much going on. AEW pay-per-view numbers were down everywhere for their last pay-per-view All Out, except for the Bleacher Report and ITV. But overall, they were down 20%. Nide Huff says, "What's up, bro? What's up to you? Nice to see you on here." We don't know what direction ticket sales and pay-per-view buys will do with All Elite Wrestling until the TV show actually starts. It's unknown. It might actually go down if people don't like the product. Right now, a lot of people think it's still what they originally said it was going to be, bringing things back to old school wrestling, but with a roster of mostly under 200-pound wrestlers from what I've seen, and transgender wrestlers, a lot of unusual stuff going on. I don't see how that's old school at all. So we'll see once it gets on TV if this will continue. It is owned by Tony Khan, who's worth $6.8 billion. So that's going to certainly help them as far as advertising. Hello to ECW, For Life, and Sam Bauer. I'll give you guys shout outs. The Baltimore AEW pay-per-view November 9th is not sold out yet, but they are close to selling as many tickets that Raw did last Monday night for their show in the same arena. They had 5,500 people total for that event, including comps, and apparently AEW's pay-per-view is almost at that level. Some people have been feeling that it's a mistake to keep Chris Jericho heel, since at this point in his career, it's very difficult for people to boo him, and he's the most known wrestler in AEW. So that's something that some people are having issues with. There's more news about the stolen Chris Jericho title. I guess it was stolen at 5:30 p.m., so it was still light out, from a gray bag, and it wasn't an actual limo. The limo service provided a hatchback SUV. This is all information according to the Wrestling Observer Radio, by the way. So a lot of people thought, because the bag was found in the street, that maybe the limo driver accidentally put the bag on top of the limo. But since it was a hatchback SUV, that would be difficult to do. The belt was also found on a road different than the SUV drove down when going from the private airport in Tallahassee to the Longhorn Steakhouse in Tallahassee. And also regarding the Longhorn Steakhouse, who, by the way, Nide Huff actually says he believes that whole situation was a work. It sounds like it could be a work, other than it's illegal to file a false police report. So did they do something illegal for this wrestling angle? We'll see. I don't know what the penalty is for filing a false police report. It might just be a fine, and Jericho's a multi-millionaire, so who knows. But yeah, the last thing about that is they didn't request to eat at Longhorn. The limo driver suggested that. So more details are still going to come out about that. A lot of people are bashing Longhorn. I used to go to the one in Puerto Rico, and I've been to the one in Waterloo, Iowa, and I didn't mind it at all. So I don't know what people's issue is with Longhorn. New England Patriots 20-0. Colonel Qualley says. Doesn't look like either WWE MSG shows are going to sell out this coming Monday or Tuesday, according to Dave Meltzer. The Raw was much closer to selling out than the SmackDown, but this is their first TV taping at MSG in a long time, and Raw is not sold out, even with Steve Austin on the card. So not as a wrestler, but he's doing a contract signing thing. So, something always happens in a wrestling contract signing. Someone's asking about the UFC 242 main event. I'm going to get into that, Timbo Slice. But yeah, as I was saying, I guess the SmackDown, which The Undertaker is also on, they're saying that SmackDown taping might be the lowest attended ever WWE TV taping at Madison Square Garden. So we'll see what the official numbers are. A lot of people were wondering what they drew in St. John's, New Brunswick, from the Canadian side of things this weekend. I'm curious to know too. Halifax was canceled over the weekend, but that was due to the storm there, not ticket sales, although I don't know what ticket sales were at. Apparently 205's future is still up in the air, whether they're going to continue with that program or not, according to the Wrestling Observer. Also, according to Wrestling Observer, Impact is maybe doing around 5,000 viewers on the Pursuit Network, and they're averaging about 3,000 or so on Twitch. So under 10,000 people a week are watching Impact now, and of course they're now presenting this AAA MSG Hulu Theater disastrous show. You would think they might actually cancel this show at this point. There's reportedly about 2,000 tickets sold. Maybe that's why they don't cancel it. But a lot of those people bought the tickets for that specifically for the AAA Lucha Libre show, and now it's turning into Impact Presents. So they haven't even announced many matches on the show. The only one I know about is the Tessa Blanchard match. I think she's fighting Talia, but I'm not positive on that. Could be someone else. And Cain Velasquez is going to be on the card, but the show's coming up very quickly here. I think it's September 15th, and we don't even know the opponent for Cain Velasquez. Someone's saying that Brandon Stone's actually saying thanks for taping the Hall of Fame shows in Waterloo. Yeah, I really did enjoy taping those. It's unfortunate that there was a new guy running it this year that said we couldn't tape it. So that was one of the reasons I didn't go this year, because if I'm not going to be able to tape the Hall of Fame due to whoever this new person running it is, I need to make my money back. That's a far way to travel. And even with all the interviews and everything, I don't think we made our money back last year. And I just don't have that kind of disposable income to go out there without the ability to make as much as my revenue back as possible. And for UFC 242, I did watch the Khabib fight online. Someone was asking me earlier if I saw it. Good submission finish. He's a great technician, expert at what he does. He was very dominant in the fight. Again, after supposedly he talked about wanting to fight GSP, there's still talk of that fight, even though Dana White doesn't want that fight to happen, because if GSP wins, he's already retired, so he'll just retire again. And Khabib is one of the most popular guys in the company now. I think he's 28-0, so it would do nothing for them if GSP wins. Conor McGregor said he wants the rematch in Moscow. And we'll see if that happens. That's a huge money fight. If Conor actually wants to have that fight, then he'll probably get it. He's a huge superstar. It was announced Junior Dos Santos will face Alexander Volkov when they return to Moscow November the 9th. Dana White is also creating a title called the Baddest Motherfucker Belt, BMF, which is kind of ridiculous for a legitimate sport, but apparently he's creating that for the next Nate Diaz fight when he fights Jorge Masvidal. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. How do I feel about BJ Penn? Matt R. is asking me that. It's come out that BJ Penn has now lost his UFC Boston fight. Dana White has taken him off the show because of the street fighting he's been doing at strip clubs in Hawaii. And I just feel bad for him, really, because he's losing that payday now, and he's already going through a rough time. BJ Penn has been told now by Dana White that fight was going to be a favor. He's lost 7 in a row. That was going to be a 8th chance for him just to get another payday. So I feel bad for him overall. The Bellator show was reportedly pretty bad, according to Dave Meltzer. I did not see it. It wasn't very exciting, according to reports. Chris Cyborg was apparently ripping on Dana White at the show. She's recently reportedly been signed to the biggest female contract in MMA history, apparently worth more money than Ronda Rousey even made. So that's pretty incredible. And she's going to be allowed to box as part of this contract. Rampage Jackson also made an appearance at the show, and supposedly he looked like he weighed around 300 pounds. I have not seen his picture, so that's just what I've heard in reports. So thanks for all the comments on this. That's about all the news for today. I'm also posting the audio of these news updates on the Great North Wrestling podcast on iTunes. So if anyone wants audio downloads of the latest news, I also post shoot interviews as well as custom podcasts on that site, Great North Wrestling on iTunes, and subscribe to the Hannibal TV for all the latest updates. Savio Vega has been added to the Great North Wrestling October 19th event. He just had a fight last night in Puerto Rico. He looks great. He had this fight in a ball. I think it was called Gope de Estado or something. IWA Puerto Rico's back. They have TV in Puerto Rico. And he wrestled in this ball in this hardcore match. He got busted open. Announcements more on that show to come, but Haku is going to be on that event. Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lady Yasmin, who I don't know if she's going to be signed by WWE or not. She had the tryout last month. It's been about 30 days since that tryout. So those people are probably finding out about now. They probably found out last Friday if they were signed or not. That's my speculation. So usually they can't formally say if they've been signed until they pass the medical and drug tests. So we'll see if Lady Yasmin got signed or not. Max Testosterone was also part of that Canadian tryout. He told me he hasn't heard anything back from WWE yet, but he's facing Wes Briscoe for the Canadian title October 19th in Rockland. Yasmin's challenging Jessica Black for the ladies title, so it's going to be a big show. I should do an NXT tryout again. Devious is saying, well, you can look it up on here. Gerald Briscoe did hook me up with a NXT tryout in 2016. They sent me my itinerary. WWE was talking to me for 7 weeks in 2016. But a little over a week before the tryout at 11 p.m., I got an email saying that I was uninvited to the tryout, and nobody could give me an answer why. I saw Gerald Briscoe since then, and he said he wanted me to have the tryout. He didn't know why. Tyson Kidd tried to get me in that WWE Canada tryout last month, but he was told they were full. So in other words, they ain't interested in me, but I'm fine with that. If I was to go to any company, MLW or ROH or New Japan would be my top 3, not necessarily in that order. AEW, of course, too, they're throwing around a lot of money. I might not be a fan of what I've seen so far of that product, but other than that, I don't think Hannibal is going to wrestle again unless there's a big money offer. So don't worry about that, guys. Why is AEW passing me by? Ask them. Everyone always asks me. I literally get messages every single day. Why aren't you in this company? Why aren't you in that company? I'm not the one that hires. They all know who I am. They all know I have 120 YouTube subscribers, 120,000. They know I have over 80 million YouTube views, and I've been wrestling for almost 20 years. I'm a legitimate fighter as well. I'm 6'4", 260 pounds, but I guess they're not interested in that. So Blood Hunter and Haku, someone's asking me, will that turn into a shoot? I don't know too much about what could happen in that match. I'm not really that familiar with the Blood Hunter, but I'm sure it's going to be a great match. And sure, it could definitely turn into a shoot. I'll say that. You have two really tough wrestlers there. Colonel Colonel Quail, will CM Punk wrestle again? Yes, there's going to be too much money on the table for him to turn down an offer eventually. I think WWE would be smart to use him for NXT, but AEW is going to need more star power too as they go on, and people realize that actually one person told me they saw a commercial for AEW when they were in the US on TNT, and they were asking me who's in it because they showed all the wrestlers so fast he couldn't recognize any of the wrestlers in the commercial. So that's going to be another issue with AEW. They don't really have many stars. Jericho is the only one that's been a world champion. Kenny Omega has in Japan, but let's face it, not many of your average people in the US or Canada know what New Japan is unless you're a wrestling fan. And if you're a wrestling fan, I don't even follow it. I read the news. I watch matches here and there, but he's a great wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a mega star in the US yet. Dustin Rhodes is probably the second most known wrestler, but he's not going to beat Goldust in AEW. Was he ever that over as Dustin Rhodes? I really don't think so. He was popular, but he was never as big as he was as Goldust, as Dustin Rhodes, and I believe he's 50 now. The Young Bucks are independent wrestlers. They're on the rise for sure. They're getting known, and they have a huge independent following. But overall, they will need more star power. So CM Punk would be a great get for them. I thought Goldberg would have been a great get for them, but obviously WWE snatched Goldberg up. There's a lot of other questions. Someone's saying they can't really get into the AEW talent because they look boring. Well, a lot of them look like kids. A lot of them, some of them are in bad shape, and there isn't that many heavyweights. They just hired a recent heavyweight guy named Wardlow, and they did a movie-esque, I guess Lucha Underground-esque promo to debut him. But I've tried to research this Wardlow. He's from Pittsburgh. He hasn't been around long. He's 6'2", 250 pounds. That's about all I know about him. So we'll see how he is when he gets in the ring. But again, he could be a star in the future, but he's not like known to a mainstream audience right now. So we're going to see what happens. They could change their whole plan. What they've been saying up to this point is they're not going to change what got them to the dance. Who knows? It's going to be interesting, that's for sure, to see what happens behind the scenes in wrestling. Someone says, I mean, come on, Orange Cassidy. I mean, since when do they hire anorexic looking people to wrestling? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Orange Cassidy.